Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
49 faces looked to him in triumph. Over the last 12 months, they had each taken turns and promoted his business for a week at a time, driving over $987,342 in revenue. What if you had a network of 50 centers of influence who promoted your business every week for a year? Grab your copy of the #1 Amazon best-selling book, The Ultimate Guide to Growing Your Business with a Podcast, at 33% off the Amazon price by going to ultimatepodcastbook.com. Again, that website for 33% off the Amazon price is ultimatepodcastbook.com. Welcome to the podcast. This is your host, Seth Greene. Today, I've got the good fortune to be with Justin Montgomery from Pro Course Start and the Elite Nurse Practitioner. I am super excited to talk to him about escaping the time for money trap, turning professional expertise into online continuing education, and building a scalable course business. Justin, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, appreciate having me on, having me on here.
Our pleasure. So let's go back in time. You did not take the normal direct path into the online world. You started out as a nurse practitioner. Tell me a little bit about that journey.
Yeah, so started as a nurse practitioner. Just like every other person going to college, going to school, you're sold the idea of, get a good job, get a degree, get a good job, that sort of a thing. And so, I didn't want to go down the path of getting a career where the future was questionable. So I got something that was licensed, right? Something I actually learned a skill. So became a nurse practitioner, which is essentially like a physician's assistant. Essentially, I can prescribe medication, diagnose, order tests, etc. So did that, started working on urgent care, working in the ER, that kind of a thing. And about 5 years in, I realized like, this is the ceiling. I've hit it. There's nothing better for me. This is it. Like, I'm going to make my $200,000 a year and, put a smile on my face and just say, this is it. And I was just like, screw that. So I was like, I need to start a business. So I started some clinics, started some medical practices. Those did well. And then I took those skills and said, hey, there's other nurse practitioners and doctors and stuff out there that don't know how to do this. So instead, I'm going to teach them how to start cash-based practices, not insurance-based practices. I wanted to niche it, cash-based alternative medicine practices. So that's what I did. So basically, I just started the Elite Nurse Practitioner and taught people how to create practices, and it turned into a 8-figure business in 3 years.
That is ridiculous. Congratulations on that journey. So you did it yourself. You started, most nurse practitioners would probably be content. 6-figure salary, work for 40 years, max out my 401k, etc. What was the hunger? I got to go back. I got to ask, what was the hunger that made you say, that's not enough for me? I want something bigger.
Because I don't like working.
Okay.
I don't like working. I mean, I don't like being stuck somewhere for 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, whatever. Right. Like, I just don't like it. Like, I'm not designed for a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday or working 3 or 4 12-hour shifts. So, I'm not designed for it. I'm not designed to be told what to do. So that's essentially what it was for me. And I realized I needed financial independence because I want to live the life. I want to live my life on my terms. I want to be location independent. I want to do what I want to do. And I can't do that if I'm working. So
understand. Okay. So as a nurse practitioner, you were working in someone else's business. How did you make the leap to starting your own and figuring out how the heck, because doing the thing is different than being a business owner of a business that does the thing. Talk to me about that leap.
Yeah. So, I wanted to use the skills that I had, right? I didn't want to reinvent the wheel. So I was like, I'm going to start a practice. I don't want to deal with insurance because when you deal with health insurance, a third party's in control of the money, right? So it's not your business. It's the insurance company's business. That's just the way it works. Whoever's in control of the money has the power. So I was like, I'm not going to do that. So I just started a practice, cash-based practice. I had no clue what I was doing. at all. This was way before ChatGPT and Gemini and stuff, right? This was back in 2017. And I don't know, man. I looked up some stuff online. I tried to find what I could find. If I couldn't find an answer, I just said, well, if there's not an answer to this question, then it must be right. If I can't find something that says I can't do this, then it must be legal. So I just did it. So like I just started these practices and lots of failures. The first one was a failure. It failed. The second one was okay. The third one was all right. The fourth one was, is where I hit it. And so, yeah, so, I mean, I did learn along the way, and by the third or fourth year into it, I was pretty good at it.
Awesome. So a lot of people, again, next generation of, okay, so I started businesses and I finally figured out something that worked, would have been happy with that, might have just opened more locations. What inspired you to say, hey, even this that I achieved, there's more to it? Where did that come from?
Yeah. So still work. I was self-employed. I wasn't an entrepreneur. I was self-employed, I mean, I was still the product. I was still the service. I still had to show up and see patients. So I wasn't location independent and it wasn't generating the kind of money that I was wanting, right? Like I was wanting 5-6 figures a month profit. And those businesses simply just weren't doing that. And I realized in about 3 or 4 years that I can't scale this thing to the point where it's spinning off $100,000 a month without hiring a bunch of people, increasing my liability, increasing my risk, increasing and decreasing the margins, right? To scale a medical practice to $1 million a year profit business, people don't realize what that takes. It takes a lot of employees, it takes other providers, it's and you're lucky if you break 30% margin, which is still pretty good compared to most businesses, but still, I wanted something that was higher. I wanted something that was passive, partially passive. I wanted something that worked for me and something that I could scale. And so at that point, I was like, yeah, I'm doing okay here, but this is still not what I want. So I was like, I need to figure out something else. And that's when I figured it out.
Okay, so you built multiple successful businesses at that point, then decided to go teach other people how to do the same thing. Talk to me about the online education journey where you were launching the Elite Nurse Practitioner program.
Yeah. So I took my skills, my knowledge, my information. I said, okay, how can I leverage this? So I started a blog. Basically, it just started off as a blog. That's it. 2019, I think is when September 2019 is when I started that. I was a blog. Started writing articles, and I really didn't have any kind of plan whatsoever. I don't believe in business plans, so I've never had one in my entire life. So I just said, I'm just going to create an article. I'll just start writing articles and whatever. We'll see what happens. Started writing articles. 6 months into it, I'm building this following. I got this audience. I got people subscribing to the email list and stuff. People follow me on Facebook and whatnot. And I was like, okay, I have an audience here of a couple thousand people now, mostly just nurse practitioners. And I was like, how can I monetize this now? I was like, I'm building something here. So I was like, I know how to open up a men's health clinic, men's health testosterone replacement therapy clinics. I know how to open those up because I had a couple at that point. And I was like, I'm going to create a course, not a live course. I don't want live courses. That requires work, right? So it requires my time. So I recorded an evergreen product course, a pre-recorded course on how to start a men's health clinic. It was about 5 hours long. Straight to the point. This is what you need to know how to start a men's health clinic. Created it, launched it to my audience. I didn't advertise it at all. I just literally launched it to the audience that I built over the last 6 months. And I made $50,000 in 7 days. And I was like, okay, wait a second here. This is something I can scale now. I mean, I just made 50 grand in 7 days for, 30 hours of work and that I put into making this course. It's like, okay, now I'm going to scale this. So basically what I did at that point was I saw the money. I saw the money, created a new course every single month for 3 years, basically after that. Yeah.
That is absolutely incredible. So again, you could have been content with I'm creating courses and that's working. And now I've got relatively passive income. So what inspired you then to say, I'm going to take this to yet another level and I'm going to teach other people how to do the same thing?
Yeah. So about 3 years into that business, we're printing off $250,000-$300,000 a month at 90% margin. And it was literally just me and 2 virtual assistants. Like, that's it. So, one owner. So just insane margins, insane money. I was able to pay off all my debt and everything within a year. I paid my house off, I just completely debt free. And I just started saving my money up. And I guess the third year into it, I was like, this is starting to turn into a job now. I don't this isn't fun anymore. This isn't just a little side thing. Like, this is actually turning into a real full-fledged business now, right? I hired an operations director, and I'm like, okay, this is a real business now. This is the real thing. And I was like, I don't, I'm bored basically. I have business ADHD. I have about a 3-year lifespan for most businesses. And so about 3 years into it, I was like, let's sell this, move on to the next project. So scaled it to a point, had a pretty amazing exit event that could have allowed me to just completely retire. But I was 39 at the time. I could retire and be fine. My kids will be fine too, kind of a thing. And so, so that's what happened. And about a year and a half, 2 years into my sabbatical, so to speak, I just started getting bored. You can only fish and golf and stuff so much. So I kind of got bored. And so I was like, I'm sitting on some skills right here. I was able to grow and scale a continuing education course business, a medical continuing education course business. I was able to do this. Not many people have done this in the world. I was like, I'm sitting on some skills right here. I really should share this to the world. So I started Pro Course Start. And so that's where I'm at right now, teaching people how to basically start a medical continuing education course business. So, yeah.
Okay. So the majority of our listeners are business owners or entrepreneurs. What if they're not in the medical space? Does what you're doing still apply? Do the principles still work?
100%, because all you have to do is contract out the people to do the medical education for you, right? The thing about with the Elite Nurse Practitioner, I personally only created about 7 of those 50 courses. I contracted out the rest. I just found other nurse practitioners, doctors, et cetera, to do the courses for me. I'd pay them $10,000 or whatever, and then they'd sign over the rights, and I owned the course. They had no idea I was making $500,000 off of it, right? And so basically, so if you are an entrepreneur out there, start the business itself, create the idea, build the infrastructure, get the marketing engine in place, because at the end of the day, all a continuing education course business is a marketing business. It's literally it. You just got to build an audience and know how to market it. The product itself is easy. You can hire people, you can hire NPs, nurse practitioners, physician assistants, doctors, chiropractors, whatever. You can hire these people, pay them 10, 15, 20,000 bucks to make a 6-hour long course for you. They sign over the rights. It's yours now. You can do whatever you want with it. Now it's just a marketing play. Yeah, so absolutely anyone can do it.
So what are the biggest mistakes or biggest challenges people run into when trying to start an online continuing education business?
I think the biggest challenge is building that audience and actually selling the product. I think it's just like any other business, really, right? It's like, how do I sell this thing? The product itself is not difficult. Getting the accreditation for the continuing education, this stuff is not hard. It's if you know the process, it's easy. It's marketing the thing, right? It's understanding, how do I put this in front of the faces of this profession that I'm targeting, and how do I convince them that this is what they need? There's a lot of continuing education courses out there. There's a lot of them. So you have to figure out, how do I separate myself from that noise? And ultimately it comes down to just creating something that's very, very valuable, something that actually teaches people something they want to learn, not something they're just taking so they can check a box to get their continuing education credit or hours so they can renew their license, right? You don't want to do that. You can do that if you want, but if you teach something valuable, they're actually paying for the information and they get the continuing education credits. If you do that, it's really a lot easier to do that.
Given your evolution, I got to ask, what's next?
Yeah, so I'm gonna keep going with Pro Course Start. I'm really, really enjoying this. I have no plans on actually selling this one. I think this is going to be kind of my long-term baby that, it kind of helps me just live off of the income sort of a thing and help people do it. I've already helped, a couple dozen people do it. A couple of those people have scaled up to $1 million CE business already. And so yeah, I just really enjoy helping people, mentoring people. And I think that's kind of what I'm going to continue to do. I think it's just it's a fun thing. I got a couple of little projects that I'm working on right now, utilizing some AI stuff in the medical space. So I got a few projects going right now, but this is kind of what I'm going to be focused on for a while.
You've helped so many people and created so many jobs and so many businesses. The ripple effect has got to be huge. What's your biggest challenge now?
Yeah. My biggest challenge right now is just figuring out what to do with my time, to be honest with you. Like, I mean, I understand how to build these online businesses that work for you. And so the initial build out phase is the fun part for me. That's the challenge. And then once the thing's operational, that's kind of where it's like, okay, well, now the thing's just running itself. Well, what do I do with my time? So basically right now with me, I'm just figuring out how to be at peace with it, be at peace with myself and be present. That's what I'm trying to learn how to do.
Beautiful. Your passion is obvious. What do you like best about what you're doing?
Like I said, helping people helping people build legacy. Like I have helped. I couldn't tell you how many people through the Elite Nurse Practitioner, how many people start their own practices and how many people start their continuing education course businesses. I've helped thousands of people, and to see these people, like when I'm at a conference speaking, when they come up to me and shake my hand and say, dude, what you taught me literally changed my life and my family's life. I want to thank you. Like that right there, it's priceless.
Amen to that. Well, we know your time is incredibly valuable. We greatly appreciate you spending some of it with us. For our folks watching and listening who want to learn more, maybe want to get into the continuing education course business, where is the best place for them to go to learn more about you and ProCourse Start?
Yep. www.procoursestart.com. We have a mastermind option. We also have our own course hosting software that has an education module in it that will actually teach you how to start your own continuing education course business, in addition to providing you the software and everything that you need to host your courses. So those are the two options that we have right now. So you just go to procoursestart.com, check those out. If you have any questions, just email me. It's justin@procoursestart.com, and I'll be the one that answers it.
That's absolutely incredible. That goes back to that time issue. We greatly appreciate you hanging out with us. This has been Seth Greene with Justin Montgomery at procoursestart.com. Justin, thanks again for spending some time with us.
Appreciate it, Seth.
Thank you, everybody, for watching or listening. We'll talk to you or see you next time.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.